we actually have some motion on the EIDL grant program. So in this video, I'm going to explain the updates that I'm finding with this grant program. It offers some clarifications, some concerns that I have with these updates and these clarifications, and then I'm going to go over the qualifying criteria just one more time in greater detail and offer an even easier solution to see if you are eligible for the $10,000 EIDL grant. So jumping right in, let's first start off with the SBA's website. We can see here at the homepage, there's no changes from yesterday or the day before or anything like that. No notice of the EIDL grant, but there was some changes further into the website. So first, we have this small business guidance and loan resource tab. And we see that this hasn't changed. It still says SBA is preparing to offer the shuttered venue operator grants and the targeted EIDL advanced limited eligibility. But as you can tell, this is now clickable. And what this does is it brings us to this page, which we've been on this page before. And as we can see, it still just allows us to apply for the disaster loan. There's no application link for the EIDL grant. If we go to the disaster loan application, not a whole lot has changed here. It still just says the same warning notice that brings us to a page with no additional information. But if we scroll down a little bit further, there are some major guidance changes here. So it's still just the same loan eligibility. Targeted EIDL advance. This is where we see some major changes. So let me just read this to you. COVID-19 targeted EIDL advance was signed into law on December 27th, 2020 as part of the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act. The targeted EIDL advance provides businesses located in low-income communities with additional funds to ensure small business continuity, adaptation, and resiliency. Advance funds of up to $10,000 will be available to applicants located in low-income communities who previously received an EIDL advance for less than $10,000. Now, this of up to part is a little bit concerning to me because the first round of EIDL grants, we thought they were going to be $10,000, and then the nuances of the language in the stimulus bill allowed the SBA to change this and kind of write their own criteria to how exactly they wanted to administer this. And of course, they set it to $1,000 to $10,000. So the fact that it says of up to is just a little bit concerning because this means what if they come up with some other criteria within the next month or so that says, okay, yeah, you can receive up to $10,000, but you might get $6,000, you might get $3,000, you might just get an additional $1,000. That's kind of concerning to me. I don't want to be like a doomsayer and say that the $10,000 isn't going to happen because there's other parts in here that, kind of say you're going to get $10,000. But that was the first thing that jumped out to me just made me a little bit concerned that we might see some change in criteria again. So it says of up to $10,000 for those who are located in low-income communities who previously received an EIDL advance for less than $10,000, or those who applied but received no funds due to the lack of available program funding. So it's saying this is going to go to people who received between $1,000 and $9,000 the first time around, or those who applied sometime during the first round before there's an exact date, I believe December 27th. Let me see. Yeah, before December 27th, you had to have applied for the first round and didn't receive any advance because the funding was run out. Another concern is this page says nothing about people who just haven't applied at all. Maybe you didn't know about the grant program until this latest stimulus bill came out. It says absolutely nothing on this page for those who haven't applied. And that kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit because the funding here is more than ever. The first time around, I believe there was $20 billion in funding. Now, in the second time, there's $40 billion in funding, and the majority of small businesses have already received something from this program. So it's a little odd that they're not going to allow businesses who just didn't know about this program apply. So what we might see happen is a round where they cover all the people who applied the first time and either received less than $10,000 or applied and received nothing. They're going to do those as a group, and then once there's available funding left, they may open it up to another group of people who just haven't applied at all. That's my hope, at least as of right now, because there is literally no mention of this. So let's go a little bit further on this page. It says, applicants do not need to take any action at this time. The SBA will reach out to those who qualify. So that's a real important thing. And they say the SBA will first reach out to EIDL applications that already received a partial EIDL advance, meaning between $1,000 and $9,000. So that's going to be the first group of people who receive some portion of an advance, which again, that's a little bit backwards to me because those people receive something. The people who applied later and didn't get anything haven't received anything. You'd think those would be the first people, but that's not how they're doing it. So the very first people are going to be the ones who received $1,000 to $9,000, which is the majority of people. So at least that's good for the majority, but there's still those outliers that I'm concerned about here. And then the people who haven't received any funds will receive notice from the SBA by email. It says in the coming weeks, which we learned yesterday that we shouldn't expect this until at least mid-February, according to some high-up SBA reps. And if we're just going to give them some leeway, we should probably just assume not till the end of February. But what they say here is all communications will be from the official SBA email with an SBA.gov ending. And they say, please do not send sensitive information via email to any address that does not end in SBA.gov. And here's my assumption here. I would be very surprised if they send you an email requesting you to send them anything over email. If they request anything from you, I'm going to give it a 98% chance that it's some link or portal that you need to go into and then enter in your information. It's not going to be just, hey, shoot us over your social security number via email. And also, this is a major issue just to look out for SBA.gov. It's just going to be those 6 letters at the domain. Because they're notifying people that information is going to be requested over email, or there's going to be documentation at least sent over email, there will 100% be scams having to do with this. If you receive an email and you think it's a scam, feel free to send it to me and I'll let you know whether it is or not, just to make sure that no one's getting scammed here. All right, now it goes over who may qualify for either the increase in the grant size, or if you haven't received a grant at all, how you may receive up to $10,000. So I want to go ahead and explain these just one more time as simply as possible. And I made a little spreadsheet that I think is going to be really helpful here as well. So first off, we have the low income community guideline here. So it says the definition of a low income community is defined in section 45DE of the Internal Revenue Code. And that's the either 20% poverty rate or 80% of the state median household income. So let me explain that a little bit more in detail. We came up with this method not too long ago where we can use this census data. Now, this isn't going to be perfect, but the SBA is going to use something very similar to this because we want to have the income level of the tract that you live in, not the city you live in. A tract is usually defined by an area of between 1,200 and 8,000 residents. You can kind of think of it more as like an extended neighborhood than like a city or a metro area or things like that. So this is the best way that I can get the closest answer to whether you can qualify or not. So first we want to go to 2020 here up on top. Make sure you do that, otherwise the information is not going to be correct. And then you can either search your address here, or I think it's easier just to go user select track and scroll in. It takes a second to populate. Scroll in. I'm just going to pick a random area that is most likely going to qualify. All right, so we're going to click this area, 1155, and then you click Census Demographic Data. Then you go Income. And first off, you're looking for percent below poverty line. This is 31.41%, so people in this area would be able to apply. But let's say this is 15%. You wouldn't be able to apply under the first criteria, but then there's a second criteria for the median household income. So then we look at 2015 tract median household income, $31,039. So I made this a little bit more simple because I think there's a lot of people still confused about this. So I made a spreadsheet that will be downloadable. There'll be a link in the description. You can click that and I'll just email you automatically this spreadsheet so you can tell whether or not you can be approved or not, given the best information possible. This isn't going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to be about as accurate as we can possibly get. So we go to the spreadsheet here and we're going to look at low income area verification, and we type in the number that we had there for the median household income in your census tract. So we got 31,039. 39. Just enter that in. And then we go over to this PDF, which I will also have linked, and it's right here on the spreadsheet that you can download if you want. And you go and find your state 2015 median household income. And we're using 2015. I received some questions about this last time. We're using 2015 because in most areas, 2020 isn't updated yet, and this is the best information that we have so far. So again, there's some gray area here, but it's as good of a process as we can possibly find. So we see 51,492 here in the household median income. So 51,492, we enter that here. Oh, I already have that in. And it came out to 60.28%, which means this census tract has 60.28% the median household income compared to the state of Arizona. And I made this as simple as possible. It's green if you're eligible, red if you're not eligible. So I hope that helps. You can download that with a link in the description. Now, our next criteria is the 30% reduction in revenue. And people have had some struggles with this as well, so I added that on the spreadsheet too. So let me explain how exactly you can calculate this as well. So we go back to this spreadsheet, and this is how you do it. You want to add up your lowest self-employed revenue or income in an 8-week period between March 2nd, 2020 and December 31st, 2020. So however much you earned, I said income, that's if you're like a sole proprietor or you're a contractor or a gig worker, that's gonna be your income. If you're a small business owner, it's gonna be based on your revenue because it's considered gross receipts. And also, like as an Uber driver, this is your income before expenses, just to clarify. Okay, so you enter in whatever your income was in the lowest earning 8-week period between this timeline. I put 7,000 here, and then you do the same for your highest earning, either revenue or income based on your situation, 8-week period between January 1st, 2019 and March 1st, 2020. So basically before the pandemic started. As you can see, green means eligible, red means not eligible. If this was, let's say 9,000, you can see it auto-calculates. Boom. As simple as can be, linked in the description if you want to download it and have just a little bit more peace of mind to make sure you're calculating these things properly. Now, just to finish off here real quick, it again just says this will go towards those who had applied before December 27th, 2020. It says do not apply again. Those applicants will receive an email from the SBA with instructions to determine your eligibility, basically to calculate the low income area requirement and the gross receipts requirement. And it basically says you need to have 300 or fewer employees and you need to be an entity that's eligible for this kind of program. And then there's just one more thing that's kind of new here is this IRS form 4506T. Basically, the SBA is saying this time around you might be asked to provide this form so that the IRS can, I guess I have to download it, can request a transcript of your tax return. I'm not sure if this is going to be requested of everyone or not, but just be prepared that this may be requested of you. And my computer's being slow. I suppose it's probably the 15 tabs that I have open here. So request for transcript of tax return. This is pretty self-explanatory, so you may be asked that. All right, so, oh, there's me and me. So in summary, I hope that helps clear the air with the EIDL grant program and what you can expect and the most recent updates we absolutely have. Again, I want to reiterate, I know I've said this a million times, but if you can apply, if you're eligible for the EIDL grant, there's a very high probability that you can also qualify for the Paycheck Protection Program, both round 1 and 2. I have tons of other videos on that. I have a link in the description of this if you want to apply. It might take you 45 minutes to apply, and it's absolutely worth it. So I'd just like to thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a profitable day.